Now when I say fighting nature, this is exactly what I mean. This plot, I have to weed it almost every other day. However, I've manured it and things are starting to happen back here, but next door is a madness. So I'll have a little go at that a bit later if it stays dry, and a little go at this as well a bit later if it stays dry. This is around the other side, where I'm also fighting nature, as you can see. I had some cucumber plants which didn't make it, and I've got one kiwano in here which hopefully I had 3. There's the remnants of one, he perished, and there's the remnants of the other, one left. Again, I have to weed this every other day. I've actually treated the soil in here, and after treating I planted, these are 3 different varieties. I don't know if you can do that, plant 3 different varieties together, but these are cucumbers. So that's 1, 2. This plant survived, and then behind him I've planted another one, because this is where I normally grow them, and I hadn't previously treated the soil. I think that was the issue. I would have normally, but again, other issues at the plot have made me not do that. Inside of my greenhouse, where things are looking quite decent. Had some colder weather. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 tomato plants. My sweet potato slips, which I don't really need anymore. I might plant these slips that I've got in here, rooting and starting to root. I'll plant these in another bucket, I think, because I've got some leftover compost, so I might plant them in another bucket. And then to the left and the right of me, I'm starting to realise I've planted all of this stuff way too close together. But there is some melon, some kiwano and some cucumbers in here, flowering nicely and growing quite nicely, because the temperature in here is quite warm. Again, here's my current sweet potato bucket. That's a big one. The one that I plant in next will be a lot smaller than this, and I'll just plant 2 out of those slips, I think, in there. Only one of these is really flourishing and growing on, this one here, although he has made some good progress. And then again, same as the other side in here, cucumber, different type of melon, and there's no kiwano in here, it's just melon and cucumber, I'm pretty sure. Don't fully remember. Again, I think all this is too close together, but you live and you learn. Those are the plants that germinated and they're growing upwards. So it's a first for me. I'm literally just going to see what happens. I've never done it, and I didn't think it would succeed, so we'll just wait on the results. And before I go, this is my little onion patch, which looks worse for wear, basically, because I let it get overrun by weeds. I have a lot of these vining weeds here, which grows up plants and basically wraps itself around. Sorry, I don't know if you can see that. Wraps itself around, which I'd normally would keep on top of, but I haven't this year. People say there's a particular type of bug, which is what it looks like has happened to these onions, but it hasn't, I don't think. I think it's just the weeds, just because the actual shooting bits haven't curled, they're just battered by weeds. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. They're growing, so I'll let them keep growing, I suppose. Over here, got a few beans, a couple of courgette plants. Keep them fairly on top of this. And here are my tomatoes, which I shall prune next week, and I'll run through that with you. Oh, we've got a few fruities there, look. A couple there, look. You can see. Yeah, fantastic. So things are starting to happen. Fairly happy with what I'm seeing. Obviously got a bit of weeding to do, as you can see. My corn is looking fairly solid. I've tried to, I noticed this pumpkin was growing towards my neighbour basically the other day, so I've tried to kind of train him and turn him in this direction with this little ankle wood that I found, until I find something a bit more permanent. Things are growing along nicely. Here's my bonus strawberry patch, which is producing some quite small strawberries, but strawberries nonetheless. So I might, they're fully ripe as well, so they're not going to get any bigger than that. So I might take a few of those home as well, being my first harvest. And then the area that I've got to tidy up, you know, that's where my shed's going, so I'll leave that. But this is just my little seating area, which is basically, yeah, not great. So that's what my plan for the day is, or morning, or hour or so. So let's get crack-a-lacking. But before we get crack-a-lacking, as we say, I did mention I was going to do my first harvest, because there is particular plants, and there's some things that are growing on quite nicely. If I work out how to turn this around, which I won't, so my little courgette patch here, which I thought were all these lemon courgettes. I'm not sure how big they grow to actually, so I'm not sure whether any of these are ready. I thought this patch was all those, but we also got some of these, I don't know what they are, they're just courgettes, right? Yeah, but I was going to say the variety, but that's what I mean by I don't know what they are. But and this is what an onion patch is supposed to look like, apart from the weeds that I'll deal with in a minute. But heading back this way, dun dun dun, for my first ever allotment plot harvest, this chap on this plant has decided to race ahead of anything else on the plot, and get himself big enough to, big enough to harvest. So let's drum roll please, first ever harvest from the plot. Let's get rid of that. I'm nearly there, not quite there. I won't need to get under there and get them bits and pieces out. But compared to what was here, I can actually get my little portable chair out. Sling them down. And ask a question. So my question is, there's a particular weed that I was getting rid of, which I have quite a lot of in this area where I'm sitting, or underneath where I'm sitting. And the question is whether, because I want to get rid of it, whether I can put weed killer down so close to where I've planted my crops and veg. So I'll give you a quick look now. So I've chopped all the stems off. I don't know if you can see these little stems here. I've chopped all the stems off. All these stems. And I wouldn't mind getting rid of it. Weed I'm talking about, I don't know what it's called particularly, but it's this stuff. I've left one in so you can see it. But this is quite a youngish one. But as it matures, the stems get quite woody at the bottom, so they are hard. Even that, let's see if I can pull it out. No, almost. They're hard to pull out from the roots. So they're just going to keep coming back from those stems there that are left in. So my question is whether I can put weed killer down. There's my little decking area, and that's where I planted my crops. So there's about, and I've purposely left a bit of a barrier along here. One, to step down from this decking along here. I've got to weed all of this next. And two, this is where my shed's going to go, as I've said. Two, to step out of my shed and be able to manoeuvre without stepping on anything. So this will probably be another paving slab where my feet are. Similar to this one here. That's the design of it. So I've got about, I think I said 4 foot, didn't I? I've got about 4 foot maybe between weeds and food. So let me know what you think, and more generally, if you like what I'm doing, you want to follow the journey, like and subscribe so that you can keep updated, and comment down below in terms of what you think of where weed killer. I don't generally use it anywhere near where I'm growing food because I'm skeptical basically. So that's my normal stance, but is it safe to, because that is a pain. The roots are, I'll never get to the roots because they're in between the decking slats. But anyway, let's have a look at where I'm going to be sitting in the days to come. Not too bad. It's a little wonky. I'll try to straighten up. I've got plenty of bits of spare wood lying around that I can do that with. But got my tunage, got my seat, got my table. All that's missing is a cup of tea. Now generally I've been fairly on top of my weeding, and I was tempted to leave actually after what I've just done, but the idea is to keep on top of it really, and basically do that by getting rid of the weeds while they're young. So my last job for the day is to just have a quick scoot round with a hoe, try and avoid the potatoes that I've adopted, and get rid of these young little weeds, or as much as I can. I do a little bit today, a little bit tomorrow, and just that's the way I've kept on top of it, to be honest with you, just a little bit at a time, which is better than I've done at home. So